So, one of the things to always, that's always good to talk about is our expectations of our practice and looking at our expectations and how at times things seem to fall short. And it's really a good thing to examine within yourself. A lot of what gets us in trouble is our expectations about what should be taking place, about how people should be, how the world should be, how we should be, and how our practice should be. And the management of those expectations is really important. It's why I've been trying to say again and again, that you're doing okay. You're doing okay. You've been coming to these classes for quite a while. You've been meditating and reading and doing other retreats and courses, I think, and um, you're obviously staying with the practice. And even if there's a sense of that you lose it, that your mind is a mess some days, the fact that you come back again and again to your cushion, the fact that you come back to the Dharma, the fact that you come back to classes is no small thing. And you could see with those of you who've been here uh, over the years how there's a lot of people come and they don't stick with it. They stay for a while, and really what happens, I think, is things get difficult and people stop coming. I'm not particularly talking about my classes, but just in general with meditation practice, with Dharma practice. There is this kind of movement with people that they go towards it because you think it's going to give you a lasting peace and calm and happiness. And after 3 weeks or 3 months, when that doesn't work, then the person turns around and looks for something else. So, that thing I sent out last week, the last line is, or the last paragraph is, this is how we grow. Oh, I'll just read the very back half of it. Resilience is the ability to come back again and again, to recommit again and again, refusing to buy into such limiting self-views. This is how we grow. This is how we learn. This is how we strengthen. This is the path. You are on it and you're doing just fine. We just need to tweak a few things here and there. And isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? So I really hope I sent this out to everyone, and I really hope that you take those words to heart, that you consider those words, because all we can really do is recommit again and again. All we can really do is to come back again and again. The formal meditations on the cushions and the retreats that we do, they all give us a greater capacity to be able to bring our practice into our daily life. But practice and daily life are not two separate things. They are one thing. And without that understanding, then we're always kind of running away, if you will, as opposed to meeting daily life, as opposed to meeting what presents itself. We want the calm, we want the peace, we want to get through this stuff. But really what we need to do is to develop the ability, develop the strength to be able to be with what presents itself, whatever it is. So the expectations that you're going to come to a place where you will forever be calm, that you will forever be happy, is not valid. It's not going to happen. There's always going to be life. You're always going to find yourself in life, and things are going to happen around you, in you. Somebody picked me up for a retreat a while back, and I forget what was going on. Something was going on. Oh. Anyway, and so he said, how's it going? He was driving me up to Kinmount. And I said, well, this has happened, and it's really quite, it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to be with. And he said, oh, meditation teachers have problems too. What do you think? We're not separate from life. We're not separate from all of this that's taking place. So a lot of it is managing the expectations. And, I think in some ways what I try to do here or with my teaching is I try to present a framework. A framework that you can work with, where you can actually bring the Dharma practice into your daily life in a real way. And you're doing it. It's happening. It's not just an intellectual pursuit, is it? You're having experiences, you're having insights, you're gaining knowledge. And so there's techniques that we do. And, one of the ones, of course, is to the idea that we have these really deep habitual tendencies within our being that need to be worked with, that need to be cleared. And one of the techniques is to develop calm and to find that place within your body where you're feeling a certain type of emotion or a certain type of feeling, and identifying that feeling, identifying those feeling tones, identifying those sensations, and just making contact with them. If you're somebody that experiences, for example, a lot of frustration, then you go into the body and you see if you cannot locate the feeling of frustration. So that's a technique. That's a way we have of working with things. But the underlying principle of that practice is to be able to look, is to be able to see, is to be able to connect with. It's not to be able to change anything, but it's more to be able to be present with. things change on their own. But where we get into trouble is we react to situations. We react to ourselves. We grab onto things. We add layers and layers onto something that's taking place that don't necessarily need to be there. So what we're doing with this ability to look, this ability to be with, is not getting involved, not getting caught up in the multiple layers that we've developed, that have been created over time. So if there's an underlying deep tendency towards frustration, we are simply learning to identify and be with that experience without all of the layers that we've usually put on. So we're developing that capacity to be with. That's the resilience. And it's something that takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of time. But by working to the best of our ability with this idea of continual mindfulness, of being with whatever situation presents itself, just being with it, we develop an extraordinary capacity to be able to transcend things that come up. But in order for that to happen, we have to develop the ability just to be with, without expectations of it working out one way or the other. I want transcendence and I want it now. I want freedom and I want it now. But at times you are free. But you don't think about it. Your frustration goes away. You see something beautiful. You have a conversation with a friend. The frustration is gone. You're free. Now, it's going to come back again if it's a deeply rooted habitual tendency. But when it does come back again, just be with it without adding anything extra to that experience. And when the frustration and the experience is over, see the freedom that is already there. When we're not caught up even for a moment, when we're not caught up in the mind, in that moment we're free. And it's equally important to recognize that moment. It's equally important. So whatever the situation, whatever is happening, we are simply being with that experience, recognizing that experience for what it is. We miss those moments of clarity. We miss those moments of freedom because we're holding on to something else. And if you get caught in the mind just going around and round and round in circles, then do something else. Put your attention on something else. But as you develop this capacity to come back again and again and be with whatever is taking place without any expectations, then this natural calm and clarity and freedom has a chance to present itself. So, careful with the expectations. Who is it that's expecting something? And are you expecting something of a permanent nature? What are your expectations? When you notice them, let them go. And some days are good and some days are bad. And some years are good and some years are bad. But within the day, within the week, within the year, it's important to recognize the freedom, the calm, and the clarity when it presents itself. It's a process of life. People go through really big things. But we develop the ability to just be with it. Obstacles are also doorways. The practice of meditation, the practice of Dharma is the practice of really looking at life and really looking at our experience. Not resisting. Being okay with and moving forward. Are you still thinking of the winter or are you with the spring? Can you even enjoy the spring? Or are you still thinking of all the snow you shoveled? It's kind of what we do. It's kind of what we do. And that's habitual pattern. So we look at it, we be with it. And within that, we see the underlying calm. We see the underlying freedom that is present when we are not stuck, when it doesn't control us. Storyline after storyline after storyline. What about those moments when there's no storyline? Can you catch that right now? No storyline. Just sitting here, being with. What's here when there's no storyline? What's here when there is no need to give definition to? What's here when there's no expectation about what's going to happen next or what should be happening now? And the answer to all those questions is the same answer. And that answer is revealed in quiet watchfulness. When there's no storyline, when there's no narrative, when there's no expectation, no hope, no fear, what's here? So we investigate that and we learn to embody that. And it comes in brief moments in between all the other crap. It presents itself in brief moments, but we need to recognize it. Stop thinking of the winter. Limiting views about who we are, what we can do. What's here?